You're very welcome to another episode of the Scaling Your Business podcast. For this episode, we are joined by Andreas, the CEO and founder of Model Management. Andreas, you're very welcome to the show.
Hey, Rian, thank you very much for welcoming me.
Yeah, I'm delighted to have you. Typical fashion of the show is we spend the first couple of minutes getting to know you, and then we'll go into other areas. But let's start there. Did you grow up in Germany?
Yes, I'm German. I grew up in Germany until I was 26, and then I moved to Spain.
Have you got any favorite memories of your time growing up in Germany? Favorite hobbies? Yeah, any standout memories of growing up in Germany?
Of course, playing in the streets with my friends, playing soccer, and being a big soccer fan, Bayern Munich at that time. Now I live in Barcelona. I'm almost more fan of Barcelona, even though it's quite hard the last couple of months. But yeah, that definitely my best childhood memories are playing with my boyfriends, my friends in the street, and enjoy it.
Excellent. One question I like to ask my guests is around influence. And what I mean by that is my guests can usually point to a small group of people, a close friend, a family member, a teacher who had a big impact on their early life that helped them become the person they are today. Can you think of anyone that had a positive influence on young Andreas? And if so, who are they?
Definitely, I'm a strong believer of that. Actually, I read a book about self-branding, and my theory is that you should have two people in mind that you think are people you admire and you would follow. And if you make a hard decision, like something you struggle, you just think like, what would these two people decide? And it helps you to make the right decision. And I had two people who were like my mentors. A part of course, you have influential people like your parents and your wife, but let's say something outside that circle. One is an entrepreneur. He is 15 years older than me. I teach his son mathematics, and then that's how I knew him. And he's an excellent entrepreneur. He just teach me so many things about how, like the basics of how to run a business. He also teach me that you can be generous and friendly and still be very successful in business, which I thought from watching TV shows and other stories that you have to be mean and hard and fight to be successful. And my other mentor was my aunt. She was much older than me. Also, she got divorced. Her husband died, and she had to be an entrepreneur from one day to the other when she was 50. And she also teach me a lot, like how she handled the situation, like being from one day to the other boss of a big company, her husband dying, having 4 kids. And she was always so generous and so positive until she died. And still, she was 1 year lying in bed, suffering. And she always told me when she saw me, like, I'm so grateful for everything I got in my life, Andreas. And she just teach me that gratefulness and generosity.
Wow. Well, big shout out to your auntie and your friend as well. They sound like they've had a positive impact on the person you've turned out to be. If anybody looks at your LinkedIn account, it's easy to see that you're a serial entrepreneur. However, I'd like to go back in time to the year 2005. You spent 4 years as the interim manager of GNT Iberia, expanding South Europe. While you were there, on your LinkedIn, it says that you set up the sales strategy, landed some key accounts, and found the future managing director. So my question here is probably 2 questions. One, what key lessons did you learn from your time at GNT Iberia? Did you improve any skills? And then what, if any, mistakes did you learn from during your 4 years there that you've brought with you to your current role, to that has contributed to the success of businesses since then?
Yeah, great. I mean, you really did your homework and made the research. So yeah, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I did only 2 like other things in between. One was this period at interim manager at GNT, and I had an advisor job like in 2017, 18. Funny enough, the boss of this company is one of the guys, my mentor, is the friend who teach me a lot about entrepreneurship, and he asked me if I can help him expanding his business to South Europe. And I did it because I knew I would learn a lot from him, and I could help him as well because I'm good in opening new doors, opening new business opportunities. So my learning was it is good if you're an entrepreneur to put yourself in the shoes of another entrepreneur and help him to solve his problems, to see another business like an advisor or like somebody outside, because you learn a lot from this person, and you also can give a lot because you just have an outside perspective. So I think that was a good experience. The company is incredible. It's a company in the food market that changes the way how food is produced, because they offer colors purely from natural ingredients. That means like juices, fruits and vegetables, concentrates. And my experience, like personal experience in that years was I was talking to the big food and beverage companies like Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Danone, Nestle, all those, that unfortunately all these big companies, they don't have a conscious, they don't have a soul. That means they are purely marketing and price driven. And when you try to sell them a product that maybe is not as cheap or not as easy to sell to your customers, but it's much better for the customers, like sustainable, much better. You have to find the one person in the company who has values and who believes in that, and then you can get it through. You can just not go to the normal marketing and sales department, have a normal pitch, because the whole company is driven by numbers, marketing, prices, and reports that show how successful they were growing. But there's always some people in every company, in every unit, in every government. You have innovators, you have people who believe in values and things that you also believe. So you have to find this person if you want to sell something who shares your values, who shares something that you believe in as well. And then with this person, you can land the product.
Nice. I like that. That's interesting that there's always a few people that you can pick out that will help you make the progress internally in those companies. Today, you're the CEO at Model Management, trusted by over 1 million models and brands such as Nike, Audi, Garnier, H&M, ITV. So rather than me tell the listeners what Model Management is, you're the CEO. You'll do a better job. So the microphone is yours.
Yes, good. So to start with, I always insist it's modelmanagement.com because it's a tech company. It's a .com company. It's not a model agency, which many people would think. Obviously, with more than 1 million users, models, and also more than 50,000 customers using it to find models and talent, this cannot be an agency handled by people. That can also only be handled by tech. So that's the first point. I started this because I'm an entrepreneur and I married a model. So that's how I knew the industry more than 20 years ago. And I saw that this industry is very fragmented, not very effective or efficient in the way it's done. And I had the idea to change it. And so I wanted to build a platform, and I started this already very early. I failed, I would say in 2008. I started the first intent, invested a lot of money and failed because I didn't get it. And then I did again 2017 when the time was ready. So what we did right now to describe what modelmanagement.com is, we built a platform kind of Airbnb or booking.com, but for this industry where clients who produce content, content means video, photo content for advertising, for commercial use, could be at a TV channel, on a magazine or social media or on internet, and who need people in front of the camera, people who represent the brand or the service. And they need to find these people because you have to find a fit that represents best your service or your product. Mm. And this is usually done through model agencies or talent agencies. That means these brands they call, or the producer, whoever is the one in charge of doing the content, calls an agency and tries to find the right talent or model. And we build a platform where you can do that just online. So we solve two problems. One is to match the needs of the content creator. So I need let's say a blonde guy, 2025, playing soccer, in London because I wanted to do a TV commercial for Nike in London. So you find a lot of people with this profile. You can choose the one who fits best. And then the second problem after the matching is the contract and the payment. So once you agree with somebody that he's the right person or she's the right person, you do a contract where you put in all the legal aspects and mainly the so-called buyouts or the royalties, which means if you, for example, Ryan, if you're doing a TV commercial for Nike, what you get paid depends a lot on which countries the TV commercial will be shown and how much time. So the more years the commercial is shown and the more countries it's shown, the more money you can get. Just to give an example, like a simple daily fee of 2,000 euros, which is a lot of money, can become a fee of 50,000 or more, 100,000, if it's a worldwide campaign on all channels, let's say. Yeah, but if it's just a local Irish campaign, maybe only on YouTube, you would not get anything additionally to 2,000 because it's just included in the fee. So you make this as a contract, and we use digital or smart contracts, and then of course the payment as well has to be done to the platform. So we just have our one-stop shop from finding the right people, making the contract, payment, and then afterwards, like on Airbnb, reviews and follow up. So you can also build your trusted community. You can find information about clients and models because other people who work with them can leave a review. And you can see how many times they were working and booked, how many connections they have, and so on and so on.
On your model management LinkedIn company page, you've posted a number of jobs over the last few months. There's an article by Harvard Business Review that says the cost of a bad or the wrong hire can set a company back 5 times that annual wage. So if someone, you're hiring someone for 20,000 euro and you get it wrong, the missed opportunity and several other factors can equate to about 100,000 euro lost a year. So how do you have a process for hiring, or do you go off gut feeling?
Very, very good question. Gut feeling is always very important. So first of all, my principles are, if I have to choose between the best expert and the best person fit in terms of, I think I like to work with somebody and he fits to my company culture, I would always go for the company culture and the fit, the person, because I think that if you have the right person, you can get the skills to work in the vertical, to be an expert in something, rather than if you have an expert but he doesn't fit to your culture. So gut feelings means, do I think that this person fits to our company, does have the shares the same values as we have, and you can just build up a future with this person, because the person comes with skills, but they have to learn the company culture, the company DNA, the company values, and then together with the skills you grow. Yeah, if you don't have a match, that doesn't work. So it's gut feelings, but then of course I made a lot of mistakes being too quick with gut feelings, just saying, oh, he's great, she's great, so let's hire him or her. Also, I have a lot of pressure that I have to hire people because I have to solve problems. But now we're growing very, very fast, so I just want to get the problem out of the way and hire somebody. But it's not good. So I think you should have a very good process. I have an HR person or an external HR person who helps you to double check. You should also have somebody in the company, like a 4i principal, who also double checks, and rather do 2-3 interviews or 4 than 1 or 2. And what I really like is also having kind of an assessment center, or like an assessment task. So once I think the person is good, give him or her a little task so that you can see how the person understands his job, what kind of ideas or facts the person brings to the table, and that gives a very good feeling at the end of it. You can see very well just whatever it is, just how the person presents a one-pager, what and how the person writes, and what they understood. That gives me then the final conclusion, and not gut feeling so much anymore.
There's a tool that some of my friends have used in the past. It's called CARE, K-A-R-E. It stands for Keep, Attain, Recapture, and Expand. You might be wondering, what does that have to do with this conversation? It's a tool that people use where they draw a diagram and they look at the clients they have and clients they want to get. So they look at the clients for keep, the key accounts that they want to keep. Then when it comes to the accounts that they want to attain over the next quarter. Then when it comes to the accounts that they've lost that they want to recapture. And then when it comes to the accounts that they have, but they want to expand within or upsell within those accounts. So it's just an easy tool to put up on a whiteboard, and every quarter or once a year, you look at it and see where the business stands and how you plan to grow the business leveraging these accounts. So my question for you is, when it comes to winning or attaining new accounts with the brands, not the end users, how do you do so? Do you run fashion shows? Is it word of mouth, networking, paid advertising? What is it that you do to get more brands to go from 50,000 this year to 55,000 brands next year?
So first of all, I got your example. I'm not familiar with it, but it sounds like interesting. Maybe you can send me later some link to it.
Sure.
I would like to look into it. So what we do is we use a lot of funnels, starting with ads on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, more LinkedIn lately because it's more B2B. And we have a system, like a typical system with the lead generation, with HubSpot. Then we use the software, which is brilliant, called Bluebird, which allows you to select potential leads to real prospects. And once we have identified a prospect, which means we have identified a company or a person that we think could do business with us, we have a sales team who calls them, like outbound calls, and tries to explain our product, tries to explain why working with a digital platform is more efficient, more agile, and faster than working with traditional agencies. And we try to get the first project. That's the way how we do it. It's like kind of a similar system or theory that we use to what you explained. We use OKR. So in our OKR, it's like a quarterly objective key results. We identify, we define how many new clients you want to get, how much revenue you want to produce, and we try to get there. And this is kind of the initial determination of the budgets and of the goals of our sales team, how many leads they have to produce. So we have a panel where we know exactly if we get, like say by a LinkedIn campaign, 1,000 leads, we can probably identify 100 prospects. That means we do 100 calls, and from 100 calls you get 20 customers, and the average customer does a revenue of 10,000 euros a year, whatever. So we can generate 20 times 10,000 euros revenue by having 1,000 leads and the team working on it.
Nice, solid. So it's just like a funnel. Is there a skill that when you started out in your career, in your first few jobs, that you were not great at, but was very important to improve if you wanted to be good in business as a founder?
Definitely, a lot of skills. I mean, as a founder, and I'm a single founder in that case, I have mostly been a single founder. Only in one venture I was co-founder. You have to cover all the areas. You have to be a tech guy, you have to be the finance guy, the HR guy, the legal guy, the marketing expert, the sales expert, and still have a vision to lead the team. So you learn, and I never stop learning. I do this now for 25 years, and I'm still learning every day. In the last years, when I started to do like this kind of business, which is a business, very ambitious business where we need investors, I think the last 2 years, the skills I learned from scratch was investor relations. So how to explain your project to investors, how to build a pitch deck, how to present it to investors, how evaluation, kind of contracts, type of investors, type of rounds, and stuff like that. I never had that before. I was investing myself, little like angel investors, but I never was involved and had a startup which did like go for VCs and stuff. So this was lately probably the one I learned most. And I'm an engineer. I'm a creative engineer, I would say. My family is all architects, and I started internet. So I love the marketing part, I love the creative part, I like the tech part. But what really cost me always was the financial part, and I had to work very hard to understand my financial plannings, to build a good, solid financial planning, understand the balance and the P&G and everything. So that is that comes with discipline and really understanding that you need to do that. It's not something that is totally fit to my natural born talent.
Nice. 2 questions left for you, Andreas. Have you got a personal definition of success?
Happiness. For me, success is happiness. I'm I have my goal, but also I always say like the journey is the destination. If I'm happy every day with what I'm doing, and I'm proud of what I'm doing, then I'm very successful.
Nice. In Ireland, it's called secondary school. I'm not too sure what it's called in Germany. High school, teenage kids when they go to school, so 11 to 18 years old, before they go to university. In that period of their life, if you were the decision maker to add one mandatory subject to the curriculum for teenagers in school, what would it be and why?
Happiness. Yeah, I'm sorry, but it's as this. I think we don't learn. We in the traditional school we are driven by results. The teachers have a red pencil and they say this is wrong and right, and you have a system where certain things like mathematics or languages or geographics are the one that determine if you're good or successful or not. But you don't learn anything about emotions, about what makes you really happy, what is your talent. So I would say happiness would be the thing that I would include, and within happiness it would be about the emotions, about how to get happy, what is important for you, and all this stuff. So that's what I would change.
Great answer, Andreas. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. I will leave links to articles mentioned, your website, your LinkedIn page, your social channels, if anybody wants to learn more or get involved. Lorcan, again, thanks for connecting myself and Andreas. But for today, let's leave it there. And thanks for being my guest.
Thank you very much, Ryan. It was my pleasure.